Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm going to share my screen in a second so that we can go through a little presentation. It's just a few slides, so don't think that we're going to kill you by PowerPoint. It's only a few, but I'd like to encourage you all to ask those questions as we go through. You don't have to wait until the end or anything, but there will be opportunity at the end if you want to take it. You may be wondering why you've got me as opposed to Paul Whitnall. Well, unfortunately, Paul has been delayed following an accident on the motorway. Unfortunately, not his accident, but it's meant that I've had to take his place today. So, which is good for you, I think. So, so David and I are going to start this off. So I'm going to share my screen, which I always do wrong, so you'll have to forgive me if it doesn't work out. Right, so I did it wrong earlier, just to let you know. Okay, and share screen, and it's this one, and I've got to do that and that. Okay, you can tell that I'm really great with technology, can't you? So, first of all, what I want to say how fantastic it is for us to be here today, but also to have the collaboration that we have got with Causeway. From our point of view, what we feel that it gives us is, or our members, our dual members, is the opportunity to have Causeway that really understands sort of local issues, and also to have the reach, if you like. The Causeway members have got the reach that they've got with BITA across the UK, with our 8 cities. We've got our BITA chapters in, we've got BITAX for the under 35s, and we've also got our global forum, which gives us representation throughout the USA, Australia, and soon Germany and Poland. So the joint membership of the two organisations really gives you great opportunity with established connections all over. What I'd also like to say is that as part of our promotion today, we're also going to be giving an incentive to any non-members attending today's event. If you do decide that you want to join up before the 1st of November, then you will actually receive 3 months extra additional membership onto the annual membership fee. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to David, who's going to take you through a little bit about Causeway, and then I think you'll come back to me. Or I've totally messed up the running order, but who cares?
Diane, you're doing great. Thank you so much. Jumping in at the last minute, ultimate professional. Just give me the thumbs up, Diane, if you can hear me okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect, great. Well, thank you very much, Diane, for handing over, and I'm delighted to extend a warm welcome to you for joining us for this special partnership event. So a big thanks to Paul and the team at British Irish Trade Alliance for inviting us along today to introduce you to Causeway and explain how our partnership with the British Irish Trade Alliance can help you connect and collaborate to grow your business. So let me give you some background to Causeway and our activities. We were initially formed in 2016 by a group of like-minded business leaders in Scotland, in the main Irish or Northern Irish living and working in Scotland, to create a platform to connect business and share opportunities or contacts. At our launch in Edinburgh Castle in 2016, we ended up with a full house of over 150 people. So we very quickly realised that we were onto something, maybe bigger than we initially thought and maybe bigger than what we hoped for, but it certainly grew arms and legs and became what is Causeway now. So it was initially a diaspora-focused organisation, very quickly became a business development platform. Then funding came our way from both Irish and Scottish governments, and we became a very niche organisation with a single focus. And that single core focus created Causeway, where our main objective is to protect and enhance the trading relationship between Scotland and the island of Ireland. No matter the political or economic landscape, It's about providing an informal business platform that allows businesses to connect, communicate and collaborate. Many billions of trade is transacted bilaterally between Scotland and Ireland, with tens of thousands of skills and talents working from Ireland to Scotland and vice versa. So with COVID-19 crisis and implications of Brexit, it's even more important to protect these sorts of numbers and ensure that the trading relationship between Scotland and the island of Ireland is maintained, if not enhanced. And in these last 4 years, Causeway has delivered over 40 events across a wide range of areas and sectors, from renewables to financial services to tech and innovation. And over 500 businesses and 2,000 people have benefited from our events. Now, I think this year has been particularly challenging for everyone, both on a personal front and a professional front at Causeway. I'm so proud of the team because we adapted at speed to the massive change in engagement with our members and our target audience. In fact, we've actually delivered more events, reached more businesses and provided a bigger platform for sharing connections and growing businesses than ever before. You know, this year so far, we've delivered 11 events, which was actually more than last year, and reached nearly 400 businesses, again, an increase in last year. So very much so, we've managed to adapt at speed and really embrace this new way of working that, you know, likes of Causeway, British Irish Trade Alliance, we've all relied on that face-to-face interaction, live events. So it's been a particularly challenging time for both organisations, and I think we've managed to come through them, you know, with flying colours. So on another front, our members have also been involved in a series of meetings with ministers and ambassadors across the 3 nations that we operate in, developing a range of new important partnerships that help deliver their business objectives. So it's very key to Causeway that we do have that direct engagement with governments, with government agencies, with ministers and senior government leaders or whatever, to actually allow them to come into that into their sectors, meet with the business, understand the challenges and have that connection. And it's really proved vital to our members to have that platform available to them. We're now very determined to build a strong bridge between Scotland and Northern Irish business community. And when I say bridge, I don't mean Boris's bridge, very much metaphorically. And again, my colleague Eugene Mullen, fellow director and board member from Causeway, will be talking a bit more about what we do in Northern Ireland. Also, from an activities perspective, we have our own young professionals programme that's been progressed tremendously well this year. Over the last couple of weeks, we introduced a fantastic new venture called the Professional Partners Programme. This is about providing a platform for young professionals in our network to be connected to more experienced leaders in business. So I believe this is something that not just benefit the young professional, but I think that more mature or experienced business leader will learn a thing or two as well from the young team. One of the most important aspects of our partnership with the British Irish Trade Alliance is about providing members with options. And I think Diane alluded to that earlier. It's about sharing a common goal and protecting a very important trading relationship between the UK and the island of Ireland. For members based in any of these shared regions of England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland or Northern Ireland, it's about providing a pathway into or out of these regions into a familiar platform with a shared vision to extend or grow their business. Finally, we'd like to extend, and again, I think Dan mentioned this earlier, a special offer for shared membership into the Causeway and British Irish Trade Alliance. So sign up now. Again, just to repeat that, we'll give you an extra 3 months on your membership. So for any non-members today, please do have a look at that, because it's well worth the investment. And our current joint members who you'll hear from today have really benefited from the breadth of membership benefits and almost most importantly, the extended regional coverage that you will have available to you. So thanks again for listening. I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Eugene Mullen, Northern Irish native, and he'll talk to you a bit about our activities and growth in Northern Ireland. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and I'll pass you back.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just hoping you can hear me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Diane, for that. Thank you to BITA for hosting, and thanks to David for sort of setting the scene. As he referred to, and you can probably tell by my accent, I'm a Northern Irish man. I was raised in Belfast, studied at Queen's, and I've been an architect in Edinburgh for the last 25 years. I love visiting Dublin. So Causeway really covers 3 places sort of very close to my heart, and that's very important for me and my activities within Causeway. My day job is running an architectural practice, and we've been working in areas of regeneration throughout Stirling and Edinburgh and other areas of Scotland. And some of the business connections I've made through Causeway have led to master planning projects in West Lothian, and setting up a business partnership with a German company on off-site manufacturing process, none of which have any link to Ireland, and which just goes to show that sort of the benefits of good networking is you never really quite know where it's going to take you. But I think whether it's law or business students in Dundee or Heriot-Watt universities, or senior executives in the Ulster Bank or RBS, you're really never far away from someone with a Northern Irish background in Scotland, and vice versa. There's a very rich sort of shared history and heritage. There are several nipples on the legal management boards of Causeway, and should I explain, maybe Northern Irish professionals living in Scotland, and they were all keen that Causeway should engage with the island of Ireland in its entirety, and hence that enthusiasm to make the connections within Northern Ireland. It's very easy when you look into the sort of context in Northern Ireland, and you know, particularly documents like the Belfast Agenda. Underlying that is an outcome for thriving and prosperous economy. Belfast as a regional driver, fostering business growth, maximising city connections, and worldwide drive for growth. There is, underlying the whole policy agenda in Northern Ireland, a very strong sense of that connectivity with other places. You also then hear stories which are a complete surprise about the cybersecurity industry in Northern Ireland, which is a world-beating, and about the positive synergies between the academic institutions and business, which has created this really positive dynamic. We've been having initial discussions with InvestNI, who are corporate members, and Nick Turberville will speak a little bit more about their role later. Also with Intertrade Ireland, with Co-Innovate, with Belfast City Council, with Northern Ireland Chambers of Commerce. Because we all know that there is that essence of, particularly in Northern Ireland and Scotland, business is done through trusting relationships, well-developed networks. And that's what we're trying to foster through Causeway. Obviously, there is the dreaded B word, and Northern Ireland finds itself in a very strange situation. Whatever the outcomes of the Brexit negotiations, whatever your particular views on the politics, business will continue as it always has. And in that context, our changing relationship with Europe, there's a new imperative for ever closer relationships between Scotland, the Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland, what I like to call the sort of Causeway corridor. One of the unexpected things which has happened relatively recently is that an organisation, Belfast International Homecoming, which hosts a conference every year in Belfast, and their conference this year was on the 1st and 2nd of October, and it's run by a guy, Merchant O'Muir, who was an MLA in the Northern Ireland Assembly, and we've overlapped a little bit with him in that context of the homecoming and business environment, and they very kindly gave me a sort of a Belfast ambassador medal and role. I suspect it's one of these things that the expectation of what I will do in the future, as much as anything I might have done to date. But this was a great sort of opportunity for Causeway. We've been encouraging a variety of businesses to become more involved in Causeway. We had been endeavouring to host events there before the current sort of situation we find. And one of the great things about this situation is we now have one of the members of our management board, Martin McBride, living in Donegal, working in Belfast, providing services to clients in Scotland, and is now on our management board because of the whole system that we now under operate. And I don't think he'd mind me saying that he used to spend more time, or half his life, living out of a suitcase. And now he does the majority of his business from home. And there's great opportunities for Causeway and BITA, both of whom are endeavouring to address those in taking the best advantage of this situation. We did hold a breakfast meeting in Belfast Harbour office, another dramatic building, on accessing the public sector market in Scotland, with presentations from Martin and detailed conversations around the table on that sort of formal process and approach to submissions. Scotland also, for many of the businesses in Northern Ireland, provides a first export experience. And one of our recent new members has made a number of excellent connections with businesses based in Scotland and sees that very much as a stepping stone for his business development. I personally very much enjoy the Causeway connection to Northern Ireland, and then completely unexpectedly, my son moved to Belfast. At the start of this year, working for a software development company, headquartered in Belfast, providing services, companies in New York, Japan, London. And now he's working for a French bank, and he's actually in his bedroom at the far end of the corridor. So I think that's all about our new working world. And I'm enthusiastic about that. We look forward to developing this relationship, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and the Causeway BITA relationship. So in that context, I'll pass you over to Nick Turberville of Invest NI to just elaborate a little bit on their role. Thanks.
Thank you, Eugene. Thank you. Everyone hear me okay? Yeah, so Invest Northern Ireland have recently become dual members of both BITA and Causeway, and very pleased to be welcomed into the fold. Yeah, like most, I'm working from home at the moment. Normally I work out of our London office, but I actually live in Edinburgh. So I'm what the cabbies used to call Willies, work in London, live in Edinburgh, but there aren't too many of us traveling at the moment. But it gives me great pleasure to be here and tell you a little bit more about the role of Invest NI, what we do, and how we look forward to working with you all. So for those of you that don't know, we're the Economic Development Agency for Northern Ireland. So we're looking at foreign direct investment, so companies coming into Northern Ireland, how we can support them, and Indigenous companies and how we can help them export around the world. So Invest Northern Ireland has in-market teams in both GB and the Republic of Ireland. There's 6 in the GB market, 3 on FDI, 3 on trade, and 3 in the Dublin office, working on a mixture of FDI and trade. So from an FDI perspective, we're particularly interested in talking to companies with financial services, business and professional services background, including legal, HR and consulting, technology firms. Eugene obviously mentioned cyber. That's a really big market for us at the moment, and CSIT out of Queens is a globally recognized center of excellence in cybersecurity. And we've got strong clusters in all of the areas that I mentioned. And those areas fit well with our higher and further education skill set, providing a constant flow of high quality talent. And that's predominantly what we're trying to promote to companies that are looking to invest. From an employer's perspective, Northern Ireland offers much lower operational costs, both in terms of salaries and operating costs, particularly office spaces in comparison to London and Dublin. So very competitive in that regard. And I can share with you 3 recent stories from an FDI perspective. One is probably being announced just right now. An 80-person legal centre project from Gately from England is about to announce a project in Northern Ireland. And we've recently had a New York-based cloud data company called Quark announced in September there. And Insurance Office of America have announced last week 40 new jobs in IT. They're a Florida-based insurance firm. So a lot of stuff coming from the FDI perspective, but equally we're very keen to support companies trading out, exporting from Northern Ireland, and I'm sure you have seen some success stories recently around the likes of, particularly in my own world of construction, McLaughlin and Harvey and Graham doing very well on the leaderboard for projects won in Scotland. So yeah, that's a sort of whistle-stop tour of what we do. Keen to meeting all of you and talking to you more in person over the coming months and years. As I said, we're relatively new dual members, so still finding our feet a bit, and look forward to meeting up with you all soon. Thank you, back to you.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. Now, I think we were going to move over to speak to some of our dual members. I think Neil Handy, is it yourself first up, Neil?
Yeah, I'll go first. Hi, everybody. So, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Niall Handy. I head up the Money Corp foreign exchange team here in Edinburgh. I joined Causeway about a year ago, maybe a bit over a year ago. You know, as an Irishman in Scotland, it was a nice start, but you know, we have corporates with international trading and international transactions, so trying to help with long-term strategic, you know, board decisions that have to be made with businesses around internationalizing their business, and therefore, Causeway was quite a logical step for me. And then when you added in the BITA dual membership, it was a perfect fit, because then we're covering both islands and a good coverage. So from the off, really, it was a pretty logical thing for me to sign up to, and I'm glad I did. Dual membership gave me loads of benefits for both. I remember talking to Bridget, I think it was way back at the very beginning, and I said, you know, the Causeway feels like more like a social business network. You know, there's a lovely aspect that people are friendly and supportive, and genuinely people say this, but this is true. Like, they're open for questions and for helping and trying to connect. You get out what you put in with this, and the social aspect has still remained. It's obviously a wee bit harder with COVID. Maybe our Malone's trips have curtailed a little bit, but there've been plenty of events happening. I was very proud to sponsor the Causeway Awards a couple of weeks ago. So it's been genuinely, the dual membership has been super beneficial for myself on a personal level, and certainly for Money Corp as a business. If you are thinking of joining and you're undecided, I'm more than happy to take any questions afterwards, or you can get in touch. But genuinely, it's been one of the better networks that I'm in. I'm in plenty, as you can imagine, but this one just fits quite nicely with me, both personally and business-wise. So yeah, you can tell I'm a big supporter of both the dual membership.
Fantastic. Thanks, Niall. I really appreciate you taking the time to say a few words on it. Eamon, I think it's yourself, Eamon Fallon, you're planning to just say a few words as well. I think you're on mute at the moment.
Thanks, David.
No worries. Hear you now, Eamon. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, thanks for letting me say my piece. Yeah, been a member of Causeway since September 16 when it was launched in Glasgow and under the Irish Business Network, and I'd been in Lloyd's for 25 years, everything done for you as a private banker, and then suddenly you have to set up your own business and do it yourself. So I'm part of True Potential Wealth Management, so national advice firm, over 10 billion on the platform, and been there for 7 years and enjoy it. But part of that success for myself has definitely been my membership of Causeway, and since last year, my membership of BITA. Eugene touched on it. It's all about trust. And it's all about building relationships, and especially when it's finance, like myself, with pensions, investments, etc. For individuals, trustees, or businesses, it takes time to build up a relationship. So I have no problem with that, and it's been good for me in that respect. Meeting ambassadors, meeting the Taoiseach at the time, Simon Coveney, going over at the British Embassy in Dublin. These, doors opened that setting up in business myself, I genuinely don't feel would have happened if it hadn't been for Causeway. At my first meeting at Causeway that very night in Glasgow, I met Mary McGinty from the Irish Voice, who knows basically everybody in the Glasgow Irish diaspora, and from there, the very successful campaign of advertising in her paper, the Irish Voice, which brought in a lot of revenue. From that, Grania McMenamin suggested joining BITA, and you know, it's a bit like Arnold Palmer, the more you practice, the luckier you get. The second webinar that I was on with BITA, one of the bosses for London Transport, etc., was on and whatnot. So you're sitting looking at all these people and thinking, this is fantastic. Got a call about 4 or 5 days later from a friend of mine who I hadn't literally spoken to for 10 years to say, are you in BITA? And cut a long story short, somebody was on the call, was talking to him, he goes, there's a Scottish fellow on there. And he just basically set up his own accountancy firm after leaving Xerox for 20 years. And already, you know, I've had an introduction from him with a view to seeing some of his clients. So, you know, when you look at it and you think about it, it's been good for me. It's been a 4-year journey, but, you know, certainly with Causeway, you know, the aim is to facilitate business growth and collaboration, and they do it brilliantly, and I feel really part of it. And from the, you know, the BITA side of it, you know, their motto, people who know people that help people, already, you know, I'm seeing the benefits of that. So very thankful, very happy to be a part of it. As Niall says, it's a fantastic community to be in from a networking point of view. And I do look forward to, God willing, this passing and us being able to have a beer in the future and take it from there. So my thanks to everybody involved. And that would all I have to say just now. Thanks.
Thanks, Eamon. I really appreciate it. Best of luck to the business again. You know, you've done fantastically well, and hopefully we can get some sort of normality in 2021 for all. So I'm very conscious that I want to introduce Bridget as well, but I think I'll hand you back to yourself, Diane, to maybe talk through some of your upcoming events, and then if we can have a shot back as well and talk you through our events program over the next 3 months. So thanks very much everyone that supported us from a Causeway perspective on today's event, and back to yourself, Diane.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen again there very quickly. There's a couple of things that I want to go through. I mean, obviously, you know, thanks to David for giving us a very full explanation as to Causeways history. BITA itself has been going since 2012. Very similar, starting with Paul Whitnell himself coming over from Ireland. His story is slightly different in that, you know, loving the Irish culture, where you can walk into a local pub and ask anybody if they've got any work or jobs or who knows, you know, who they know. He thought he would be able to do the same in Maidstone, and it doesn't quite work like that in Maidstone. So that was one of the sort of drivers for him actually deciding that he wanted to bring that sort of Irish culture over to the UK in that, you know, making sure that people help each other, and that's where the wonderful strapline that we have came from. We now have, as I said before, we've got our chapters all over the UK. We've got a community of 2,500. Our social media reaches 12,000. We've got a quarterly magazine that online is often, you know, read by 600 plus. So we have got a really good reach now. It's taken us a fair while to get there, but we're happy with the progress and we're continuing to expand. We have weekly events. We've got a new website launching very, very shortly, which will have all the new events on there. And, you know, from a certain perspective, obviously when COVID hit, we're networking organisations and we had to react to that very, very quickly, in that we couldn't hold physical events anymore. So we got online very quickly, and like Causeway, we've been able to offer a certain number of webinars and online networking throughout our chapters. We've got some additional new benefits for our members coming through with the new website launch. We have a resource area which is going to give lots and lots of free information. We've got a new training hub which is going to give access to all sorts of leadership, behavioural and certificated training. We've also got, we've been working very hard. One of our sort of USPs, if you like, the same as Causeway, we want to keep it social, we want to keep it friendly, but the main thing about the now that we live in is that there isn't the same opportunities to make those connections that you want to make. So we've made it our business to enhance our CRM and to enhance the knowledge that we have in our membership. I'm just going to show you now the pathway of the membership, whether you're a joint member or a BITA member. You'll go through the same pathway, and it's really, really important that you still interact. You give us as much information as you possibly can do about your prospective customers, about your target customers, and about your offer, so that we can make sure that we can serve you in the right way by making sure that we promote your brand and we make those connections that you want to make through us. So that's our membership pathway. As David said, you know, there is a tremendous amount of benefit that you'll get from a dual membership with BITA and Causeway, in that you can actually attend both events of both companies, that you get with Causeway free access to educational workshops, the same as us. So there's a lot included in the membership that in other organisations you would have to pay extra for. With ours, it's all part of the membership cost. So that's the dual membership benefits. And then from the point of view of BITA and what we do, you know, one of our objectives going forward over the next few years is that we make sure that we provide supply chain support to our membership, and that's some of the specialist advice. As you can see there, we've got a register of specialists that are happy to provide advice on things like legal matters, crime prevention, environmental impact awareness, that kind of thing. Lots of workshops that you can buy into and that are free. And one of the other things that we are proud of is that we actually can communicate new innovations as well. So, you know, quite often we get members that actually phone us up and say that they're looking for a particular thing, and we will actually go out there and reach out to the organisations that can offer the new innovative software or products that they're looking for. As a not-for-profit, BITA is also, you have the ability to treat us as part of your CSR accountability. And I think both organisations as well are advocates of women in business and young entrepreneurs. So I'm just going to play a quick video here, and then we're going to pass over to Bridget. It is quick, as I say, it's literally only a couple of minutes, but it tells you a little bit more about what our members think of BITA.
For us, the lead generation has been phenomenal because it has enabled us to get to know people on that personal level. And like I said before, it helps us open the doors that as a small company we would never have been able to do. Because if I'm going to phone up and try and speak to a company, just say the likes of J Coffee Construction, they will have tens or dozens of people phoning them up on a weekly basis. But coming to these events has allowed us to get to know the correct people, the right people, and then they've been able to open the doors that we would never ever have been able to help, been able to do this before. It's been phenomenal for us.
BITA, for me personally, and also for our business MoneyCore, has been a fantastic success. Like, I mean, we've been involved for the last 3 or 4 years, and in that time we've met so many interesting people and so many interesting companies, and it's created friendships, it's created relationships, and it's actually created a lot of business for our organisation MoneyCore.
I have never come across any events like the construction network lunches that are hosted in London. To have the opportunity 4 times a year to meet people in that area, which is an area our business works with a lot, to get everybody in one room is absolutely exceptional. It would probably take one of our staff probably 2 years to access the same people that I can on a one-to-one access in one day at a construction network lunch.
Okay, so that's just a little bit about such things from our members talking about BITA. I'm now going to hand over to Bridget.
Thanks very much, Diane, and hi everyone. I don't know about you, but I was getting really lonely looking at all of those, you know, that film with people interacting face to face, and that thing that used to be just the way we did things and now seems so far away, sadly, but hopefully we'll all be back to that very soon. I got involved in Causeway by bumping into somebody, Judith, who was on the Causeway board, who kind of dragged me along to an event and asked me to say a few words at the event. And very quickly, I got this warm feeling from it. And it came at a great time for me because I just left my job in the corporate sector and set out my own doing kind of strategy consulting and executive coaching and leadership development. And I very quickly found myself involved in Causeway, and before I quite knew how it happened, I wound up on the board. It's that kind of organization. And I think, as Niall was saying, we have a reputation for being open and friendly. And in the events that we run, we try as much as possible to be client-centered. So we're really open to talking to our members about what they want and co-creating events with our members, rather than us providing a, here's what you're getting for the year ahead. As well as running events, we do, as Eamon was referring to, you know, we're quite well connected politically, and our membership is quite senior, as is BITA's. So we do small round tables, we facilitate introductions, we bring people along when there's ministers' visits. A lot of that kind of networking and facilitation happens, as well as a series of events. So this year, like BITA, we've had to kind of pivot rather quickly from doing just about everything face-to-face to doing things online. And actually, it's been good overall. No doubt we'll get back to doing face-to-face, but I think we'll definitely keep a hybrid model, because we've managed to grow our membership over this time and to do some new things that I think we just mightn't have done if we were still focusing on all the face-to-face. So our aim is that as soon as we can, we get back to face-to-face, but keep some online stuff going. We ran a range of things this year, from networking events that are purely based around introducing people, and we do things like putting you into rooms where you get chatting to people, and then out of rooms and into other rooms, so people can get not quite the same as wandering around a room and shaking hands with people, but to do get a chance to meet a range of people. And we find it's often those connections that you make that aren't the obvious ones that actually mean something for you. I know certainly in my business, some of the random chats that I've had that has actually ended up in me getting some business, you know, from a source that I may never have thought of targeting, but you meet somebody and you get a chat and you get engaged in understanding a bit more about them and their business. We also ran this year a number of what I would call sort of leadership development type events. Our members were quite hungry for, I suppose, a little bit of the what do we do now and where do we go from here. So we've done things on, you know, bouncing forward from COVID, on personal resilience, on communicating your way out of COVID, lots of things like that, just to help people with their thinking process as they were trying to manage, you know, how do I work it when I'm bringing back half my people are on furlough, the other half aren't, how is this all going to work? In almost all of our events, we try to incorporate some networking and some discussions so that we can, you know, we feel we can learn as much from our members as you can learn from kind of a panel of speakers. And I know BITA do a lot of those kind of events as well. And we've launched our young professionals, as was announced earlier. We've got quite a growing young professional network. And actually, one of the fun things that we did is we handed it over to them and said, right, you arrange whatever events you want. And myself and Aoife were giving them a bit of support. We both learned from them. So that's been brilliant. They've brought all this energy and enthusiasm that we're definitely going to cash in on some more. Looking forward, we've got a range of exciting events planned. All our plans are still to remain online for obvious reasons, but we have things like financial implications of Brexit, to trade across the Irish Sea. We've got an event coming up on exporting and trading across the Irish Sea, on the construction industry and how it's adapting to the digital world and some of the really exciting, innovative things that are happening there. We ran a big event earlier in the year on growing cities, so where we looked at what was happening in Edinburgh, Glasgow, Dublin and Belfast from a city's viewpoint. And we're doing a follow-up session to that as well, and more networking. So lots of things happening. And we also, as Niall mentioned, we had our virtual awards just a couple of weeks ago, which normally we hold in a big grand venue, and it's a really fun, glitzy, glamorous night. And while we couldn't quite replicate that, it was still a fun night, and I certainly had a glass in hand that was a bit more exciting than this as the evening progressed. But we would, if anybody is interested in joint Causeway BITA membership, we would love to talk to you about your ideas for events or roundtables or things that would really help you with your business and to help us create our program going forward. And like all the other Causeway people have said, it's been brilliant having the connection with BITA. I was at the launch of our partnership, and one of the things that I love is how open BITA is with the resources, and I think Causeway is the same, and it just has this really nice, open, collaborative feel to it, and I hope that we can go on and do bigger and better things in the future. So thanks, back to you, Diane.
Thank you very much, Bridget. We've actually got a question here. I'm conscious of time. But we have a question which is, my small organisation, partnership status with an extensive association base, delivers award-winning leadership development at board and executive level, as well as executive coaching and team development. And this is a question for, I think, Eugene. Is there a market for us in Ireland? Our USP is to support organisations by tracking a return on their L&D investment, resulting in improved bottom line performance. And that's from Katherine Thompson.
Katherine, thanks very much for your question. My completely off the top of my head answer would be yes, definitely. I don't have a huge amount of evidence to support that, but the whole impression I get in the conversations that I've been having, particularly in Northern Ireland, and in many ways, BITA will have a stronger take on some of the Republic of Ireland elements, is that there are organisations there that need that sort of leadership, need that development, that it's a really important part of how they go forward. And interestingly enough, I think in a Belfast sense, there's quite a guarded approach to business. Belfast is still sort of, coming out of a complicated situation, and I think there is an openness to this type of learning, development, to sort of not catching up, but embracing these sort of business approaches that have a bigger, broader benefit. So yeah, I would say yes.
Thank you very much.
Could I add to that, Dan?
Sorry?
May I add to that?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, Katherine, a good idea for you would be to keep an eye on the Invest NI website and look out for our announcements about foreign direct investment projects, because, by accident, by default, they will have new leadership teams being thrown together who would certainly be interested in hearing about your services. And often there's named individuals in those articles so that you could approach them directly.
Okay, that sounds very positive then for Katherine, and she says thank you. Thanks for that as well, Nick. So I think that what we've established here is that both Causeway and BITA are really forging forward with innovative ways of actually providing both of our memberships, and certainly as a partnership membership with lots and lots of opportunities. So what I'd like to do now is thank everybody for coming along today, all of our speakers and our joint members for their contribution. So thank you very much, and I hope that everybody's found it useful. And if I can just reiterate that there is an offer on the table, if you'd like to take advantage of that offer, then either Aoife or Laura at BITA.ie can deal with those inquiries. So thank you very much. Have a very pleasant evening, and we'd like to say goodbye. Bye.
Thanks, Diane. Bye now. Bye, everyone.